Good afternoon, everybody. Shalom and Shavua Tov. Welcome to a brand new week of the Israel Brief, brought to you by Lay of the Land, where we bring you those top stories from Israel and surrounds, making headlines right here in Israel. And as always, your headlines are brought to you by myself, Rolene Marks. So let's get to it. We have quite a jam-packed Israel brief today, lots to talk about, and we're very excited to announce that Israel's Health Ministry and Ministry of Tourism announced earlier today that Israel will be allowing tour groups of up to about 40 people into the country, and the only need is for you to have 2 vaccines. Of course, we always recommend that you check with your local embassy and your local consulate, but this is great news for people wanting to bring groups to Israel or delegations. It is also requested that these groups stay within their pods, stay within their groups, and don't mingle with others. And even though that this was announced earlier today, it is still to be voted in Knesset later. So slowly but surely, Israel is opening up more and more to tourists. We are open for individual vaccinated tourists who have had their booster shot or have recovered from COVID-19. Again, I just want to stress, please check your local authorities as well as our Minister of Health and Ministry of Tourism websites. In other news, in parts of Africa, it was announced that Mossad had foiled a plot, possibly by Iranians, to target Jewish and Israeli business people and tourists. Arrests were made in countries such as Ghana, Senegal, and Tanzania, very popular tourist places for Israelis, and they were arrested by local authorities. Meanwhile, Cyprus has announced that they have arrested 6 people on suspected of plotting to carry out terror against Israeli business people and tourists. It is believed that the main suspect comes from Azerbaijan. It was found that he had Hezbollah-related content on his cell phone. After Shabbat on Saturday night, Foreign Minister Yair Lapid and Prime Minister Naftali Bennett announced to the media, putting on a united front, that they will not allow for a U.S. consulate servicing Palestinians to be opened in Jerusalem. The 2 leaders announced that if the United States wants to open up a consulate, they are very, very welcome to do so in Ramallah. However, Jerusalem's sovereignty belongs to Israel. Now, the US would need permission from the Israeli government either way to open up a consulate. And we also have to remember that there was a lot of controversy in the world when the former president Donald Trump announced moving the embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem. Many criticized that move, saying that it would result in widespread violence. It resulted in no widespread violence, but it did significantly downgrade relations between the United States and the Palestinians. Earlier today, the Israeli Air Force announced that the Iron Dome had intercepted a drone, that's an unmanned aerial vehicle, fired from the Gaza Strip towards the Mediterranean. This was believed to have been fired by Hamas or some of their cohorts. The drone was intercepted successfully, not setting off any red alerts throughout the country, and the IAF have reiterated that they will be doing everything in their power to maintain Israeli security. And in our final story, we say bienvenidas to the president of Colombia, Ivan Duque, who arrived yesterday in the country to inaugurate an innovation and economic mission in our capital, Jerusalem. This will be linked to the diplomatic mission in Tel Aviv. Now, this is another sign of significantly warming ties between Israel and Colombia, and we thank Colombia for being one of the many countries that pulled out of the anti-Semitic UN conference against racism known as Durban 4 just 2 months ago. So those are your top stories making headlines in Israel today. What a jam-packed day it has been. Don't forget, you can check out our website at www.layoftheland.online. Now, many of you have asked, who is Jeremy Corbyn, the former leader of the UK Labour Party, and what has his legacy been? Well, one of our resident writers, Fionn Grunspan, has an article up there. It's sobering to read and very, very interesting. It's also up on our Facebook page at Lottel Site. If you haven't already joined us, please give us a like or a follow, share our content. Don't forget, we're on YouTube as well. Please like, share, and subscribe to our content by clicking on the red subscribe button. And if you're on Twitter, you can find us tweeting from our account at layoftheland5. So go on and give us a follow at layoftheland5. So with the Monday edition of the Israel Brief, I am Rolene Marks, and despite being a little tongue-tied, I will be back with you tomorrow for another edition of the Israel Brief.